This is Dr. Aaron Werner, and welcome to Independent Insights, where we share quick conversations on topics relevant to running efficient and profitable independent private practices while providing the best care for our patients. A big thank you to Vision Source, whose mission is enabling independent optometrists to achieve their highest potential, for supporting these conversations. Today I had a great chat with my good friend Jeff Klein about technology that he's brought into the practice, toys as we jokingly referred to them, and one of the best technologies, his words, that he's brought in on NeuroLens. We talk about how he implemented it, the effect that it's had on his practice, for his patients, for the practice, for his staff. So I hope you enjoy the conversation, and as always, if you like what you hear, please leave a comment, share with a friend, and leave us a 5-star review. All right, I am with Jeff Klein of Norfolk, Nebraska, which Jeff, you said is in the northeast corner of Nebraska?
Yeah, that's right. 2 hours north of Omaha.
Okay, very cool. Tell us about your practice, how long you've been there, what the setup is like.
So I practice with my wife, and we also have an associate who is a hometown boy as well. We hired him in the year of COVID. So 2020 brought on an associate. So there's just the three of us. He was an ophthalmology practice. My wife's dad was an ophthalmologist, so we joined him in 1999, and he has since retired. And so now it's mainly an optometry practice that does a lot of medical. We do a lot of medical care, eye care, as well as general eye care, but a lot of medical eye care. A year ago, we built a brand new practice. We have an 8,000 square foot facility that we just moved into a year ago in November.
Nice.
So got 8 exam rooms, so that's going real well. We're growing real well. Got a lot of nice technology and a lot of neat toys to play with, and
so we love our toys.
Yeah, we're loving it.
That's cool. You know, I get to talk to lots of practices, and it's really interesting to me how many bought a practice or expanded their practice, hired an associate in 2020.
Yeah.
And conventional wisdom says that's the year when you hunker down and you don't spend money because who knows what's going to happen. But I'm amazed at how many of practices, and they all happen to be Vision Source, went the other direction and really looked to grow and expand during that time.
Yeah, it was definitely a scary time. We didn't know if we should bring on the associate. We hadn't started construction yet, but we'd been planning, and we just kind of sat down and we're like, you know what, we've been planning for this. We can't grow where we're at. We're just going to, move forward. And so far it's worked out for the best, and, we've been able to grow, and our other facility just limited us too much. And then bringing on the associate was really a good thing as well. He's picked up, really great in just a year. Well, he's on his 3rd year now. So.
Oh, very cool. Yeah, having good people around you is important.
Oh, definitely.
Building that good family. So you mentioned you like your toys. I do too. Yep. And we wanted to talk today about NeuroLens. They've been in the market for a while, but they've really hit the ground running in the last couple of years. And saw a couple of posts that you shared on an internal chat board about what you guys do with NeuroLens, how you implement it, the success you've had. And so really wanted to pick your brains about NeuroLens. I think the conversation is applicable to bringing on most technologies or anything new in the practice, but let's chat specifically about that device.
Okay. Yeah, we brought on NeuroLens in just over a year ago. It was December of, what would that be, 21? We brought it on. So we've had it just over a year. It's probably been one of the best pieces of instrumentation that we brought onto the practice.
That's quite a statement.
Yeah, I know.
We've got a lot of toys, and that is quite a statement. So if you were to rank I'm curious, if you were to rank your, best pieces of equipment you bought on, NeuroLens being one of them, what else would you throw in that bucket?
I'd say NeuroLens. I'd say Optos was another one. And we didn't bring Optos in until COVID either. We weren't an early adapter. So that was a big piece of equipment we brought on. Of course, the OCT has been good for us, but those 3 instruments right there have been, great for our practice. The Oculus, we do a lot of dry eye testing here.
Okay.
The IPL, we have an IPL. So We have a
very cool.
lot of high-tech stuff, autorefractors.
Yeah.
Or autoprompters.
Doesn't get the credit it deserves.
Yeah. So, but that's one thing when patients come in, especially in our new office, they really notice the new technology that we have. Adapt DX, that's another one we brought on recently. So, we just, I don't know, patients, I feel, get a real bargain for eye care here because we're doing NeuroLens, we're doing Adapt DX, we're doing the Optos. They're getting all of this at their routine eye care. So we've really embraced technology here, and we feel like we have one of the most technologically advanced practices in our area.
Oh, definitely. Well, certainly innovative too, bringing all that in and incorporating it together. Yeah. So on the NeuroLens, you've had it for a year. Walk us through why you brought it in, and then really how you set up your flow with patients through the technology.
Mm-hmm. Well, it was a piece of equipment that we've been looking at for quite a while, and we didn't feel like it was quite where we wanted it to be. For one, it really wasn't checking vertical prism as well, which was something that we kind of wanted. When they went to the new instrument with the smaller footprint, we were like, okay, I think it's where we need it to be now, and so that's kind of why we brought it in. We've done like standard prism in the past. We've never really done it for the masses, I guess. People had symptoms, we would do it, but we've found that this has been something that we can actually roll out to the masses and help a lot of people, or a lot more people. So, but probably one of the biggest things for us and why we're successful with it is the whole staff is on board with it. So from the front desk who does the lifestyle questionnaire to the techs who are running the instrument, the docs, and then out to the optical who's finalizing the sale and basically reiterating again why it's so important to have it.
Yep. What are they saying at the front desk? Because we don't typically think about our front desk people as diagnosticians or helping to triage.
We pretty much just make it part of our routine paperwork, I guess. If anybody's coming in for a refract, it doesn't matter what their insurance, we're giving them a lifestyle questionnaire and they fill that out. The other thing that we've done a little bit differently than basically what we were trained to do is we do it on everybody. Anybody that's getting a refraction gets it. So the lifestyle questionnaire, we were kind of taught if they have 3 3s or more, then you would run the NeuroLens. Well, we kind of thought, you know what? I think it could benefit everybody, so we run it on anybody that's getting a refraction, no matter what their lifestyle questionnaire says. But we do go over the lifestyle questionnaire with them in the exam room. And kind of the way we came about that is I have NeuroLenses myself, and I noticed a pretty big difference in clarity of vision and comfort of vision, and I didn't have a lot of symptoms. So I was like, okay, well, if it can help me and I didn't have symptoms, really it could benefit everybody. So that's when we decided, okay, we're going to start doing it on everybody. Yeah. So we don't discriminate symptoms. Obviously, people with symptoms are going to benefit more, but those that don't can benefit as well.
Well, that makes me feel good because we stumbled across the same process. I think very similarly, we do it on everyone, and we found, because we put the whole office in NeuroLens when they came, and we brought it in, and the wows within the office of each other who didn't think they had problems was pretty big.
Yeah, that was huge. All of our staff has it. I've got one staff member for sure that her headaches have been reduced. I've got another that used to wear contacts all the time. She doesn't wear contacts much anymore because she sees so much better with her NeuroLens. Opticians, same way. I've got a couple opticians that wear it, so that's been huge, getting everybody involved in it.
Well, that's huge. And as a number one, it's great for them individually. As a business owner, imagine the additional productivity that they're able to produce, not dealing with headaches or just being more comfortable. And then, the halo effect, I'm sure they probably go home a little bit happier to their families at night.
Yeah. Right.
So, anytime I can send a spouse or a parent home happier, that's always a good thing.
I don't know if you've seen this also, but I've noticed that patients that are nearsighted tend to do better with it.
Mm-hmm.
Especially the higher nearsighted. Like I'm a -5, and it's really helped my night vision and just clarity of vision overall. And I probably prefer my glasses over my contacts now because of it.
Yep. So I don't think at least I know I didn't fully appreciate the amount of microprism, or the small amount of prism putting into glasses, especially distance and near at the different ranges we look, make a huge difference. Which actually, for those who are listening who aren't fully aware of NeuroLens, what is the technology?
So basically what it's using is contoured prism. Mm-hmm. So it's different than traditional prism. With traditional prism, we'd put, say, 2 base in. Well, it's 2 base in at the top of the lens, 2 base in at the bottom of the lens. But with the contoured prism, you can more customize it because most patients don't need as much prism for distance, and they need more up close. So we can increase that prism as we go down through the lens. It's kind of like a progressive multifocal works, mm-hmm. except this is prism.
Yep.
So that's been very unique, and that's kind of how I explain it to patients too, is it's very similar to your no-line multifocals, but we're able to do this with prism so we can customize it because you need more prism for reading than you do in the distance.
Yep. So, absolutely. Now, you spoke about patients. NeuroLens isn't on formulary yet for any of the insurances that I'm aware of. And putting myself in the shoes of a patient, I'm walking in. I've got my managed vision care insurance. I know what the benefits are. I'm going to pay part of the my new pair of glasses. The insurance is going to pay a part, and then now I'm hearing you, Dr. Klein, tell me that I need these new things called NeuroLens that aren't covered by the insurance, that are priced at a premium level. How does that interaction go with you or your opticians who has that conversation, and how do you help patients over that hurdle?
Well, kind of like I mentioned before, we do NeuroLens on everybody, regardless of what type of insurance they have. Mm-hmm. I do pay attention to what insurance they have. So if they have Medicaid or, one of the vision care plans or something like that, I'm aware of that, but I don't, discriminate about that. I basically present what I think is best for the patient. And if I think the NeuroLens is best for them, then I tell them that, and if it comes to the end and they're like, well, is this covered by insurance or how much does this cost? Then I'm like, well, that's the downside to this lens is it's not covered by insurance, but it is something that can help all of these symptoms that you've listed here. I don't do a hard sell. I don't push it. I just go over it with them. And I try to avoid talking about price. I just say, this is what I recommend. You're a really good candidate for this lens. I'm going to go ahead and prescribe it for you, and I'm going to have my opticians talk to you more about it. So my opticians are dealing with the price more than I am. I'm more talking about the medical side of it. This is how it can help you. This is why, a lot of times I'll say, you have a little bit of a prescription change. That's going to help you see a little better. This NeuroLens is just going to take you to that next level. It's going to get you that just a little bit sharper vision, a little bit more comfortable vision, and then let them make the decision. If they don't do it, well, that's okay. Then we're going to put them in a Verilux DX lens, or XFit lens or something like that, something customized for them. And then when they come back next year, which we're starting to see some of those back now, we talk about it again and say, well, you were a good candidate last year. It looks like you're still having your symptoms. Looks like your headaches are a little bit more. Still think this lens is a good option. And I've had several people say, yeah, I think it's time to do it now. So I don't pressure them. And same thing with IPL, not a cheap procedure, but this is what I think is best. You make the decision. If you're ready to do it, we'll do it. If you want to wait, that's okay. But that's kind of how I approach it.
No, I like that. I found it's interesting. I'm curious if you do too. It's one thing to have clear vision, and it's a priority for me. I'm surprised how many patients it's not the uber priority for. Right, the difference between good vision and super crisp vision isn't always defined, but the difference in comfort and lifestyle improvement is huge.
Yeah.
So I add on. You mentioned, hey, the small change in prescription will help you see better. One of my tagline on the NeuroLens is this is going to help you feel better. So the two together is going to make a bigger difference for you.
Yeah, that's a great tagline.
So, well, I can't take credit for it. I stole it from somebody at one of our local vision source meetings. So I'm a really good thief.
Well, that's the nice thing about Vision Source, right? We can collaborate and talk about different ideas and learn from each other.
Oh, absolutely. The one thing I do is a little bit different, I think, too, is I like to talk about price. Maybe it's just the bullish in me, and I'd rather rip the Band-Aid off and see those responses back. But what saves me in that is I always offer a guarantee. We're fairly expensive for our region by design. We want to be that high class level, and so I always tell them, "Hey, pay for it. If it doesn't work, I'll give you your money back. We'll move them over into, just like you, the Verilux X, a custom lens, and put that through the insurance." And I think I've had 2 or 3 come back because of that, but the vast majority I'll thank us afterwards.
Yeah, that's the same experience I have, and I'll bring that up if I do start feeling the hesitation, on the price. I'm like, well, I'll do this with other things too, like transitions and that type of thing. Is if you try it and you don't like it, let me know. We'll remake it into something that you do like. So, but most of them, I've had a few that I've had to adjust the NeuroLens value a little bit and decrease that. But I knock it down about 0.5, and that seems to make a difference, and they're happy.
Nice.
But we've had plenty of those wow moments with patients. I've had a couple that have almost been brought to tears when they put them on, just because it's like, oh my gosh, I've never seen this good. And these are patients that I've done traditional prism on in the past and have been happy, but, so much happier with this type of lens.
Oh yeah, those stories are the best. It's, we can see however many 20-something, 30-something patients a day, but the ones that cry and give you a hug, because you've made that difference are really cool. I'm curious, when you're asking patients or your techs are asking patients, we know the questionnaire, the questions on the questionnaire. Is there any other question that you ask that you found kind of solicits I really do have a symptoms response?
I mainly go off of the lifestyle questionnaire. Usually what I'll find is when we start going through these, like especially when I start talking about how the eyes want to turn out and how the eyes are moving a lot during the day, and I use my hands a lot. I'm doing this and showing them how the eyes turn out and everything. When I start doing that, a lot of them will be like, oh yeah, I kind of feel that, especially when I'm on the computer. So you start making that connection with them when you start explaining it in terms that they can understand. And I try to stay away from any, I know they talk about the trigeminal nerve and how it affects that. I stay away from that type of thing. It just seems to be too technical for me to discuss with the patient, but I try to keep it on terms that they understand. And like I said, use my hands a lot to move and show them how the eyes line up. So I don't have any specific questions. Sometimes I'll get into the headaches a little bit. I think that's a big one. I'll kind of ask about their headaches when they get them, if they're getting them more when on the computer or when they read a lot. But that's probably the only other one. The dry eye is another one. I've had patients that it's actually helped their dry eyes. Even before I got the NeuroLens, I'd have dry eye patients. I tried everything on them, checked their binocular vision, put a little prism in there, and it fixes their problem like that. So,
isn't that crazy?
Yeah, it's phenomenal how that happens.
Yeah, my partner Brittany McMurrin is a business partner, is a big dry eye doc, and that was one of the driving factors in her decision for us to bring in the NeuroLens, is how it's going to help her dry eye clinic and her dry eye patients.
Yeah,
which she had to give me a quick crash course on that, because I was skeptical until we saw the results. You mentioned the hands. Something that somebody told me, one of our binocular vision friends, said, hey, have them look at their feet. And so when I bring out NeuroLens, or talk about NeuroLens, I tell them to freeze and then look down at their feet. And often their toes will be splayed out, similar to how their eyes would be. And so they go, well, if your feet are doing it, your eyes are doing it too. And it instantly it personalizes it to them.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, I read something just recently. Somebody had used the term duck eyes. You got the duck feet with the duck. They call it the duck eyes. So
duck eyes. I am stealing that one too.
Yeah.
Like I said, I'm a good thief. I love interacting with colleagues because it makes me feel smarter, and I get to steal their stuff from them. So So you've implemented it in, you've got them, the NeuroLens itself. When we first brought it in, my technicians weren't super thrilled about having to do extra pre-testing. It's just one more thing. It's only 2 more minutes. And my lead Kristen, looked at me and rolled her eyes and said, another 2 minutes, another 2 minutes, another 2 minutes. Like every time you do another 2 minutes, I'm up to 20. How did you get them to, other than putting it on themselves, how did you help them build it into the flow to where they appreciated?
Well, yeah, I mean, my techs are the same way, and we, like I said, we do Optos, we do NeuroLens, we do AdaptDX screening. So, I mean, you know how long all that stuff takes.
Oh, yeah.
So, I think probably what we did, I mean, my staff's been really good about seeing kind of the why of why we bring these things in. With the Optos, we're getting a much bigger view of the retina. With the NeuroLens, the fact that a lot of these staff members have the technology, they're wearing it themselves. Yeah. They see how important it is. AdaptDX has been a little bit tougher, but they're starting to see now that, we're picking up these patients that, a lot quicker than we normally would, and we could potentially save their vision down the road. So my staff's been really good about, I guess, having confidence in the technology that we brought in. They like the toys too, I guess, and they've just worked around it. They've figured out how to make things go quicker and just streamline it. But it's taken some work. It took a good 6 months to get it in to where we felt pretty comfortable with it and we weren't being bogged down. But I don't know. I have a good staff. Couldn't do it without them.
Nope. Well, I'm sure they would say they've got a good leader. It's a fine line between, telling them this is what we're doing and come along, but also explaining the why so that you're moving them along together as opposed to just telling them what to do. But I'm glad you brought up the 6 months because I think that's important too for anytime we bring in new technology. It seems to always take us about 6 months to get into a groove.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a lot of trial and error and just figuring out how it works into your flow and how it can help your patients. But once they start seeing the benefit, especially to the patients, and that's kind of with anything that we do, it's all about the patient. What is best for the patient? I mean, the NeuroLens brings us in some income, quite a bit of income, which has been good. But in the end, it's helpful for the patient. It's beneficial for the patient. It just makes their lifestyle so much better. They see that, and the money doesn't become an issue anymore. Same thing with the patient. explain what's best for the patient, and then let them decide what they want to spend their money on.
Yeah,
and if they don't, we just give them what's next. What's the next best thing?
Absolutely. Well, they get to determine value. I think it's our job to give them opportunities, and they determine value. And I think your patients, similar to ours, have seen the value of that extra little money they've invested in themselves and how they feel. So
I don't know if you've noticed this too, but our second pair sales are greater for NeuroLens than any other lens.
We just did our end of year review for 2022 a couple weeks ago. We picked up on that our second pair sales were good, and I segmented out by NeuroLens and said, "Holy cow!" Yeah, I was not expecting.
They're loving them so much. They're coming back and getting sunglasses. The polarized sunglasses with NeuroLens are just phenomenal.
Yeah.
So it's good technology. We've really enjoyed it. It's been really good for our patients and our practice.
So that's good. And it keeps you young when you're innovative and always bringing in new things and new toys, and it keeps the practice young, keeps the patients excited. So awesome. Jeff, if any of our colleagues are listening and they're kind of on the fence on whether to bring in technology like NeuroLens, what would what's your elevator kind of advice that you would give them, your elevator pitch advice?
Oh boy. I think just what we just talked about. I mean, if it's, with any technology, is it good for the patient? Is it, obviously you want it good for the practice, but if it's good for the patient, it's going to be good for the practice. And this is definitely one of those pieces of technology. Like I said, it's probably one of the best technologies we brought in just because of that, just because of how many people we've been able to help and improve their vision and improve their comfort with their vision. And I guess that would be my my take on it is it's good for the patient. It's good for the practice.
Well, I don't think there's a better way to put that. I think you put it perfectly. So, Jeff, thank you very much for making time to join us. Look forward to hopefully seeing you next month at the Exchange down in San Antonio. You can escape the snow up in Nebraska. So,
yeah, we're supposed to get some tonight. So. Well, thanks for having me on. Awesome. I really appreciate it.
Of course. Have a good one, Jeff. Bye.
Yeah, thank you.